Good morning, everyone. I'm just looking at the screen here. There's different things on here, and I don't know what they mean. I will have to find out later. Oh, that heart has something to do with teams. I don't know what that is. Something new they're doing, I guess. Don't know. Good morning, everyone. Life took over this weekend, Mother's Day weekend. I did absolutely nothing. Literally. I ate, slept, and of course I'm always going to be knitting and crocheting. That always happens. But I didn't prep for class. I didn't have a plan. So that was all done this morning while I'm trying to sip on my coffee. We're going to be working this flower pattern right here today for the crochet part of the class. Cute little flower pattern. It's a mixture of stitches, which kind of helps you get used to the different stitches and using different stitches together. Plus, I need to put some little flowers on something, so this helps me get my stuff done while I teach you at the same time. And then for the knitted portion, I am going to be showing you how to make these little things. We're going to do it on a smaller scale with the hearts. This is a little puppy dog done in knit and purl stitches. You can do squares like this and then sew them together to make a blanket. I actually had, I can't remember if it was 9 or 12 of these planned out, and I worked them all together at the same time for a baby blanket. It had sailboats, stars, there was a truck in there, and something else I can't remember. There was 4 different ones. I don't have the blanket anymore. It was sent to a new baby, and that was years ago. So, but yeah, I have a couple different ones of these, and I'll show you these when we get to the knit portion. We're going to start with the crochet portion as usual. Anyone who wants to have a more detailed class, let me know, because we can break this down into 2 classes, or I can do a knit and purl, whatever you want to do, sometime during the week, or crochet and knit, not a knit and purl. I'm looking at this right here. But just let me know what you want to do, because I can do multiple classes if you want. Especially if we need more time, because 2 hours, an hour a piece, it kind of goes by pretty quick, and I want to make sure that we cover and you get time to practice, and if you have any questions, you can ask questions while we're still in class. But this little flower pattern is one that I picked out. I also picked out a second one. We'll see if we have time to do that. If not, I can always do a tutorial. Yes, a tutorial. Everybody's loving tutorials right now. So we're going to get started here. I'm using a 3.75 millimeter crochet hook. This is my favorite size hook for making little things like this with sport weight yarn. You can also use worsted weight. It's going to come out a little bigger because the yarn is slightly bigger than sport weight. But it works out just fine. And I'm looking at something here. I might make a couple of those just for the heck of it and put them on some scrunchy bows. Do like scrunchy bows. I'll have to look and see, because I've got some of this sock yarn over here. I'm just looking at that this morning. I set it up over here for later. But we're going to start out with the magic circle. I know that's something that a lot of people get hemmed up with, trying to make the magic circle so you don't have to tie a knot and chain, for those of you who are a little more advanced in your crochet. It starts off almost the same way that I do my slip knot. Hold my yarn in my thumb and ring finger, wrap the index and middle finger, cross it over on the back. When you turn over to the other side, I hold it here with the pinky. I'm going to take my crochet hook under the first one, grab the second string, pull it through. When I pull it through, I'm going to give it a little twist so it doesn't fall off the hook. Okay? Give it a little twist. Just turn your hook upwards. And then I'm going to come over here in this piece of string that I have in my pinky. I'm going to pull up a loop and go right through that stitch that I made there, or loop. And you have something that looks like this. You do not want to untangle anything, because this is wrapped around here like this on purpose. Okay? What we're going to do at this point, we are going to chain one, and we are going to do 9 single crochets. This got a little wild here. Let me back this up a little bit. Actually, it looks like I already did chain one. Yeah, I did. We're going to do 9 single crochets in this circle. So we're going to go into the circle. This is how you do a regular single crochet. You go into the circle or your stitch, grab up a loop, pull it through, and you'll have 2 loops on your crochet hook. Then you're going to yarn over again and pull through both of those. We're going to do that 9 times. Is that right? Yes, 9 single crochets. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And what I have done to give myself more control over this circle is I have pinched this side to this side, and I just held it like that and did my stitches in it. So I've got a hold of both sides of that circle. As you work the stitches in there, you can pinch it up closer to give you a smaller circle to work in. Now, the part about the magic circle that makes it magic, you can put as many stitches around here as you want, and you don't have to figure out how many you have to chain to make a big enough circle to get all of your stuff fixed in the way you do it. Excuse me, the old way. You would chain so many stitches, and then you would slip stitch back into the first stitch to make your circle. Once you've done that, you cannot tighten that circle up any tighter than what it is. This here, you can tighten it up as tight as you want. I'm going to take the hook out of here so I can show you how I hold on to it when I pull it tight. I make sure not to catch these strings that are going underneath. I catch it up. Oh, my video froze on me. I catch it up here towards the top of the stitches, and then you're going to grab that tail end that's cut, and you're going to pull it. And it pulls your circle tight. Now at this point, you can take your tail end here and go ahead and weave it in so it stays tight. Excuse me for a minute. Or you can do like I do, and I work over it and it holds it tight. I work over it on the next row. I catch it under the stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and put my hook back in here, and we're going to go on to the next bit of direction here. So we are going to slip stitch into our first stitch here in the beginning. So we're going to go right into this. Make sure I catch the right one. Right into that chain one that we started at the beginning. Get a hold of it there. Okay. Then we're going to pull up a loop and pull through the other loop that was on the hook, and that secures our circle there. Now we're going to be working in these stitches around that we just made in that circle. We're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we are going to do a double treble crochet. You are going to wrap your hook 4 times. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you're going to go right back down into that stitch where you secured your your circle together, and you're going to pull up a loop. Now we have a lot of loops on here. We should have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus the one connecting. Okay? We're going to pull through 2 at a time by yarning over, and we're going to pull through 2 loops at a time. It makes it easier if you hold the base of those loops right here as you yarn over and pull through 2 of those loops. Okay, we're going to do it 2 at a time until we have 1 stitch left on the hook. Okay, and then we are going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And all I'm doing is grabbing the yarn and pulling it through the loop, and it's creating more loops. And we are going to single crochet back into that same hole. Okay? This point we're going to start repeating that pattern that we just did here. We're going to chain 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to do our double treble. And I think I wrapped it too many times last time, because to do a treble you only wrap it twice. So a double treble is 3 wraps. Okay? 3 wraps. Go into the next stitch. And we're going to work that. Did I do that right? I'm in the wrong stitch, I think. Yeah, I didn't catch the whole stitch. That's why it didn't look right. We're going to go into the next stitch. We're going to catch both loops, the front and the back. And I'll show you here. I have both loops on that hook. And I'm going to put my tail in there. Work right over top of my tail. And we're going to pull through 2 loops at a time by yarning over. 2 loops at a time. And that's not tall enough. No, we have to do 4. 4 wraps, I'm sorry, like I did in the beginning. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'm going to hold on to them with this ring finger on my other hand as I put this into this next stitch here. Okay? And we're going to pull through 2 loops at a time. 2, 2 more, 2 more, and then our last one. Now we're going to chain 5 again. 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to go over here into the same stitch and secure it with a single crochet. Now again, chain 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to take a break here and look at these. I got a lot of people coming in. Welcome, welcome everyone who's joining. Everybody is welcome. I want to make sure I didn't miss any comments, because this thing is just scrolling away over here. Oh, I don't think I did. I think it's just everybody coming in, coming in, coming in. Looks like it is. If I missed a comment, please repost your comment. I think Hoarder Ace is in here. I see some of my regulars in here. I'm starting to get used to some of the names, because I'm seeing you come in a good bit. And that's all that I can go back to. Go back down here to the bottom. Make sure I didn't miss any while I'm waiting here. Nope. I'm glad that everybody could be here with me today. Now again, we're going to do that double treble. So we're going to wrap the hook 2, 3, 4 times. Okay? Then we are going to go into the next stitch. Get both of those loops there. For some reason my lighting is not right today. Either that or it's just this white yarn. Maybe take some of the light off. Maybe it's this. I had too much light coming from outside. Nope, it's just this white yarn. It's hard to see this in this white yarn. I might have to do it in a different yarn because the light is just bouncing off of here. Let me stop because I don't think you guys can see where I'm putting my stitches. Yes, Deb, treble crochet is yarn over 3 times, but we're doing a double treble. Yes, a double treble. And I do believe that that's what I did here, or maybe not. 1, 2, 3. They do call for a double treble, but when I do a treble, it's not tall enough with my chain 5. So let me switch over here to this other yarn. Find the end here. Thought I already had it out, but I do not. And we'll try it again because those look like they are awful big for that. But I thought, now you're going to be a pain. There's that end. Now I gotta deal with all of this here. I thought that I already had this skein started because I had used this yellow before. I probably grabbed the wrong one. We'll get this started here. Turn this back down. Now we got knots. Let's just cut this off. So I don't want to waste our crochet hour. Let me show you guys that again just in case. Can you see this yellow pretty good? I hope so. So to do the magic circle, I hold it between my thumb and ring finger, wrap these two, give a little cross in the back, straight over to the pinky. Have my crochet hook turned down under the first one, grab the second one. When you come through, turn your crochet hook in the opposite direction from down to up. Then come over here, our yarn that's going to our pinky, grab it and pull it through that little loop that you just made. That is a magic circle. Okay? And it looks like this. So we're going to go ahead and I think I'm going to pull. Let me check this very quickly because I know I still have this open on my tablet if my tablet will cooperate with me right now. Now it wants to be slow. It worked fine this morning. When I want it to work, it won't. I just wanted to double check. This pattern out. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, and it says double treble. Let me see what she has in here for her double treble directions because not everybody's definition of stitches are the same sometimes. Let's take a look. Double treble. Okay. Yeah, it's 3 times. For a treble, she's only got it wrapped twice. That's her treble definition, to wrap it twice. Yeah, you would pull through 3 times. So yeah, we're okay. So now we're going to Chain 1, and we're going to do 9 single crochets. And for the beginner crocheter, single crochet, we're going to go, good morning user 236, I'm doing well. We're going to go into the circle, grab up a loop and pull it through. We'll have 2 loops on our hook. We're going to grab up another loop and pull through those 2. We're going to do that 9 times. So this is 2. Get my little loop going here. Okay, go into the loop. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now is where the magic happens. Again, for those of you just joining, we're working the magic circle and we're working a flower here. I grab a hold of the stitches up by the loop, and the cut end of the yarn is what I'm going to pull. And it'll pull that, if I pull it right. Well, we twisted that up somehow. Let's loosen that up again. And it went in on itself, that's what happened. Do my circle a little bit better there. Find my tail end again. There we go. Got to control it a little bit. I guess this sport weight yarn doesn't have as much grip and friction as the worsted weight. So normally it doesn't twist on me like that. So tip, hold on to your circle good so it doesn't twist up. Now we're going to secure this together with the slip stitch into this single crochet right here in the beginning that we made in the last row. My fingers don't want to work today. Still trying to work past all the things that, and I'm going to catch my yarn in here too, my tail end, so that I can secure it. But trying to work past all the health issues that try to stop me from doing what I want to do. Now at this point we are going to chain 5, double, treble, chain 5, and single crochet all in the same spot. So let's go ahead and do our chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now double, treble again. We've got the better directions as she says here. We're going to wrap this 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to go in here into the same where you joined, the same space where you joined. All right, go in through there, and we're going to grab up a loop, and we will have a total of 5 stitches on our crochet hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to grab up a loop, and we're going to pull through 2 of those at a time. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to go right down into that same space with a single crochet. And we are going to repeat that all the way around. Okay, so over here in this next spot, actually I'm going to go ahead and change it up a little bit because I don't want those big gaps between there. So I'm going to change this up just a tiny bit. I've already did the single crochet, so I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do that double treble again. Wrap your hook 3 times. Now we're going to go into the next stitch with our double treble. And we're going to pull through 2 loops at a time until we have 1 loop left on our hook. And then we're going to chain 5. And then we're going to secure that down here into the same spot where we just did our double treble with a single crochet. And you repeat that all the way around for each stitch that you created in this row here. So again, we're going to chain 5, 4, 5, double treble, wrap your hook 3 times, down into the next stitch. This is where we did our last one, so we're going to go over 1 and secure our double treble by pulling up a loop and going through 2 loops on the crochet hook at a time. Grab your loop, pull through 2 of those stitches, and then through the last 2. We're going to chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are going back down into the same spot where we did our double treble and do a single crochet. All right, I'm just going to continue this on around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If anybody has any questions, I can watch the screen as I'm doing this now to answer any questions, any comments, anything you might want to see crochet-wise while we're here today. We're going to do the chain 5 now. 4, 5, and secure it into the same space. Okay, again, chain 5. Wrap your hook 3 times, back into the same space. Pull through 2 loops at a time, chain 5 more. What was that? Will I please add this? Add it where, hun? And add what? I'm not sure what you're asking. Single crochet. Now we're going to chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to wrap our hook 3 times and into the same stitch, and then pull through 2 at a time. I did change this pattern a little bit. Can't claim it as mine because I changed one direction. Ooh, what did I do? Those are all in the same stitch. We're going to take some of these out. How did they all end up in the same stitch? I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. I'll put them all right in the same stitch. All right. Chain 5, 3, 4, 5, and we'll get this one over into this stitch with a single crochet, and I'll make sure I get this one into the next one. Please add this A. Are you requesting that I add the pattern? I'm not still understanding what you're asking for me to do. This one goes into the same one. Oh, my messages aren't scrolling. You probably already answered that once. Yes, this live gets added to my YouTube. Every live class that I do gets added to my YouTube. And I do date them. I try to put a description in there as to what we discussed or what we went over in the video or in the class. They all do get added to my YouTube. Yes, I'm sorry. I understand what you mean now. Okay, wrap your hook 3 times. What in the heck am I doing here? I am not... I've got 2 of them in the same stitch again. I'll definitely have to do a tutorial better on this. I just did this one this morning. My brain is not working. That's because I have to move my treble over. There we go. See, we keep it real here. I make mistakes too. But yeah, I will do this, and I will do a I can do a TikTok tutorial video. I should be able to get this done in under 3 minutes. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we go back into the same as the treble with a single crochet. All right, chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wrap your hook 3 times. Go into the next stitch with your treble. We're moving on the double treble here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And into the same stitch as your double treble with this one, with a single crochet. Chain 5. Wrap your hook 3 times for a double treble into the same as you just... No, double trebles would go into the next one. Here we go. Double trebles go into the next stitch. 2, 3, and 4. We're going to chain 5. My brain's working now. Now we go in the same stitch as the double treble with a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are going to wrap our hook 3 times. Double treble goes into the next stitch. Pull through 2 stitches at a time. Chain 5. Now we're doing our double treble. Wrap your hook 3 times. Go into the next stitch. Little shorthand notes on a pattern on a piece of paper because what did I do? No, we weren't supposed to chain 5. Yeah, we were supposed to chain 5. We didn't secure it down before we did our double treble. All right, into the same stitch with our single crochet. I have got to get my brain straight here this morning, or I'm going to have you guys thoroughly confused. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 double treble. Pull through 2 stitches at a time. 1, 1, and the last one. Chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're going to secure this down before we start again. The single crochet into the same stitch you did your double treble in. Chain 5. Wrap your hook 3 times for a double treble. Go into the next stitch. And we're going to pull through 2 loops at a time till we have 1 stitch left on our hook. Now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Secure that down in the same stitch with a single crochet. And we've got 1 more stitch left here. 1 more stitch left right there. So we're going to chain 5. We're going to wrap our hook 3 times for our double treble. Go into that last stitch. Move all that out of the way so you can see. And I'm going to pull a loop through 2 stitches at a time. Chain 5. And we're going to secure that right down here into the same stitch that we just did. And we're just going to do a slip stitch this time. And I'm going to go ahead and fasten this off. My scissor. And we can lay this out so that you can... I had to fiddle it around a little bit with the other one and kind of lay it a little flat. Get it all straightened out because it wants to stick all up. A little warm hand and press it down and you've got a little chicory flower. Why does that one look funky? I think I got more petals than what I need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I got 10. Maybe 11. I might have had a couple of them still in the same spot that I didn't get moved, but it looked all right. And there's your chicory flower. A lot more people. There is a link in my TikTok. It's a Linktree link, which is right over all my videos. And it'll take you directly to my YouTube. Yes, you do 9 single crochets in the magic ring. I'm sorry, my comments got stalled there. I didn't run it all the way to the bottom. You have 9 single crochets in the beginning in the magic circle. Right here we did a magic circle with 9 single crochets in the circle. And in each single crochet, you are going to, in the first one, when you first start, you're going to do a chain 5 here. Then you're going to do your double treble in the same stitch, and then chain 5, secure that in the same stitch, and then throughout, when you secure it, it is a single crochet. So you have the single crochet, chain 5, double treble, chain 5, all in the same stitch. And this is a chicory flower. Oh my goodness, thank you. I've gotten a lot of compliments on my voice. My first couple of videos, my voice wasn't quite like this. I was scared to death. Marnie, thank you. Good morning to you too, hon. I hope that I learned from you guys as well. The double treble stitch. Yes, I can show you again how to do the double treble. Let me chain a couple of stitches here. And, I didn't have to pull it that far. We'll double treble here. Okay, I got 10 on here. Let's go to 13. Now, because a double treble is 5 stitches high, you have to chain 5. So to start a double treble and have the proper height, you have to go to the 5th chain from your hook, if you're doing it like blanket style or flat. So I'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the 5th chain, you're going to wrap your hook 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And in that 5th chain from the hook, you're going to go in. Okay, into that stitch. You're going to pull up a loop and come through that where you went into the stitch. Now at this point, you're going to yarn over. I've got this way up here. You're going to yarn over and pull through 2 stitches at a time. Okay, 2 stitches at a time. Yarn over and then pull through 2 stitches. Keep doing that until you only have 1 stitch left on your hook. Now I'll come a little bit closer and I'll show you that again. I'll watch the camera view so I make sure that you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and do my 3 wraps. 1, 2, 3. So in effect it looks like I have 4 stitches on my hook. The one from the last and then 3 more. I'm going to go into that next chain, okay? Right here into the next chain. And I'm going to yarn over and pull a loop through. So I now have 5 stitches on my hook. I'm going to yarn over. Again, we're going to only pull through 2 at a time until we have 1 left on the hook. Now, I don't know if you guys are watching my crochet hook, but I'll show you just a little more technical what I do. My hook is facing directly towards me when I'm grabbing the yarn. When I go to pull it through, you're not seeing this slight spin because you're watching my stitch. I am spinning my hook so that it faces towards the stitches so that when I come through here, it flows straight through. If you try to pull it through this way, you're going to catch your stitches on the way through. But if you turn it down, it will go straight through the stitches. Okay? So I'll show you that again. Wrap your hook 3 times. So you have 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to go into your next stitch, whatever you're working on, and you're going to pull up a loop. My video, for some reason, it just keeps lagging, so I'm going to make sure when it freezes that I stop until it starts again. So if it's not stopping on your end, we're okay. So yarn over again, and you're going to turn your hook, pull through 2 stitches. As I'm coming back up, I'm turning my hook back around so that I'm ready to grab this. Then as I'm coming this way, that hook is spinning back around, going through 2 stitches. And see, as I come out, my hook's already turned again. This is something that a lot of crafters might not show you, the technical aspect of what they're doing when they do this stitch, which can make it easier. See, my hook was this way. Watch the tip of my hook when I work. I'm coming this way. As I'm coming this way, I'm already starting to turn it so that by the time I've got a hold of it, it's already facing my thumb. And then I come back through my stitches. Okay? Does that help with the double treble stitch? The crochets with the stitches, the more times you wrap your hook, you can do 5 times, you can do 6 times, you can do 7 times. It's just going to make your stitch taller, 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 and you're going to have a lot more what I call airy gaps in your stitches. Okay? Since I've got these on here, we're going to go ahead and do one more. I had another flower I'd like to show you. Not quite sure because it's only, I think, 2 rows of direction as well. And I didn't do it. I don't know if I know I wrote it down because my tablet is proving to be unreliable when I need it. I'm going to get me a new laptop. All right. So those are the chicory flowers. And I don't know if you guys saw the little cradle purses that I made, but I'm going to make some of these to put on the cradle purses. And I'm going to put one of those in there. It's just a little piece of plastic, fake little rhinestone. I'm going to glue it on there and then stitch the flower onto the bag. I'll have to make the flower off the bag so that it stays on, and I'll attach these so that it stays. Yeah, I have a whole bin of these, all different sizes, little gems. But off to the next flower. We still have about 20 minutes. I should be able to work through this flower with you because it's only 3 rows. We're going to start with our, we got to chain our slip knot. Thank you for all the likes. And if you know of anyone who wants to learn to crochet or knit, please share my lives, my videos, and invite them on over. So we're going to chain 6, 5, 6, and we're going to join this with a slip stitch in the first chain. This is the way that we used to do it before they discovered magic circle, and you cannot make this circle any smaller than what it is now. That's why I like the magic circle, because you can tighten it all the way up if you want to. Now we are going to chain 5. This one seems pretty easy. We're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are going to do 2 trebles. So we're only going to yarn over twice in this circle. So there's 1 treble crochet that we're working now. Pull through 2 loops at a time. We're going to make a second treble in the circle. Okay, yarn over and pull through 2 loops at a time. Then we are going to chain 5 again and slip stitch it into the circle. So let's chain 5, 3, 4, 5, and secure that to the circle with a slip stitch. And we're going to repeat this 5 times in this circle. Okay? So we'll have a total of 6 of these in this circle when we get done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm going to do 2 treble crochets in the circle. We're all still working in that circle space. All of these repeats will go right into that circle in the middle, right in the middle. And we're going to pull through 2 loops at a time. Chain 5. I know I'm moving through this pretty quickly. And slip stitch into the circle. Now I got to do this 4 more times. So again, we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Wrap your hook twice for a treble crochet. Go into your circle and pull up a loop and then pull through 2 loops at a time. We're going to do that again. Chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to secure that with a slip stitch. Okay, now we've got 3 of them. We did the original, and then we have to do it 5 more times. So that's 1, 2. This will be the 3rd one. Chain 5. Wrap your hook twice. Go into your circle. And do that treble crochet. Pull through 2 loops at a time. Another treble crochet in the circle. And we're going to pull through 2 loops at a time. And then we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to secure that back into the circle with a slip stitch. You go in and pull up a loop and then pull it right through the loop you had on your hook. That's a slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wrap your hook twice. Do your treble crochet in the circle. Going to do that again in the circle. Now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And hook that down into here. And I think, just for purposes, that we might have to, just so you can see it, because if I do another one in there, yeah, we do need another one. Let's do one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that will be our 5th one. Sometimes I change it up because the aesthetics just don't look right to me, and I have to change it. That's my little pet peeve. If I don't like the way it looks, I will change it up. We're doing another treble crochet. Wrap your hook twice. Come back in here so you can see me. And chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. My yarn doesn't want to come out of the skein. Sometimes this yarn barf can be fun to try and work through if it wants to pull for you and not tangle back up. I think we got enough now. All right, we'll come back here to our flower. Now we're going to do another treble crochet. Wrap your hook twice into the circle. Pull through 2 loops at a time till you have 1 on the hook. We didn't secure that chain 5 down. Here we go. Secure down that chain 5. And that might be the last one. I should have 6 here. Oh, come on. We don't have all of that stitch on here. Let me do that slip stitch again. My hands are not getting proper messages. I am one of the chronically ill people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the last one. Now, I suffer with a central nervous disorder. So the messages sometimes don't get to my brain like they should. And my brain doesn't process some things properly sometimes. So deal with me. All right, now we have 1 more row to do. And we're going to be working around these chain 5s here and on the tops of our treble stitches. Okay, so on this round we are going to do 3 single crochets and 2 half doubles in this chain space that was created by our chain 5. So we're going to do 3 single crochets, and I'm going to clip this off, this tail end off from the back, because it keeps getting into my view, and I've already worked it in, so we're good. All right, so 3 single crochets, and we're going to work it around this chain 5 here that we have. So we're going to go in, pull up a loop, go through the 2 loops that are on the hook. That's 1 single crochet, 2, and 3. Now we're going to do 2 half doubles. Half double, you yarn over or wrap your hook, go into that space. We're going to pull up a loop. Then we're going to pull through all 3 loops because it's a half double crochet. We're going to do that one more time in the space. Okay, now we're up here. We're going to be working in the tops of our 2 treble stitches. Right here and right here are where the next 2 stitches are going to go. This space and this space. And we are doing 3 double crochets in the top of each treble crochet. So we are going to wrap our hook, go in to the next stitch, pull up a loop, and we are going to do a double crochet, which means we're pulling through 2 loops at a time. Okay, and we're going to do 3 of those in that same space. So this is the second one, and this will be the third one. Now we're going to come over here to this treble, the top of that treble that we created in the last row, and we're going to do 3 double crochets in that space. So there's 1, and I'm making sure I'm doing doubles because I like half doubles. They're my favorite stitch. I want to make sure that I'm taking the time to show you these stitches properly. Sometimes I mix them up. Okay, now we've got those 3 double crochets in that stitch. Now we're going to work down the other side of our chain 5 space here. We're going to do 2 half doubles and then 3 single crochets. So we're going to wrap our yarn or wrap our needle. Good morning, Hoarder Ace. How are you? And we're going to go into that space, half double. We're going to pull through all 3. Okay. We're going to do 2 of those in that space. And then we are going to do 3 single crochets around that chain 5 that we did on the last row. So go into the space, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. We're going to do that 3 times. This is 2 and this is 3. Move that out of the way so I can pull that loop through and finish my third single crochet. Okay, now the slip stitch that we did down here to secure our chain 5 is where we are going to slip stitch. Well, it's not raining here, Hoarder Ace, and I hope that it doesn't. We're going to do a slip stitch in there, so that's not a single crochet, that's a slip stitch. Now, we're going to be working that on all of these petals all the way around. So we're going to do 3 single crochets and 2 half doubles in this space, and then we're going to work in the top of the trebles. Okay? So single crochet, you go into your space or stitch and pull up a loop. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through both of those loops. That's 1 single crochet. For the new people who are just learning the stitches, I'll slow down here a little bit. For those of you who know the stitches a little bit better, you can work through the petals if you want to ahead of me. We got 1 more single crochet to do. So into the space, grab up a loop, yarn over and pull through both loops. Now we're going to do 2 half doubles. We're going to yarn over, go into the stitch, pull up a loop, and you have 3 stitches. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. That is a half double crochet. And we're going to do another one of those because we need 2 of those. Alright, now we're working in our treble spaces. Make sure you pull your yarn back, because if not, you're going to miss this very first treble stitch right here. Okay, so you see me going like this. I'm pulling the yarn back so I can thoroughly expose that stitch so I get it in the right spot. Okay, so we're going to do 3 double crochets in each one of the tops of these treble stitches here. So this one's going to get 3 doubles, and this one's going to get 3 double crochets. So double crochet, we're going to yarn over or wrap your hook. People use different terminology, so I try to use different terminology as much as I can so that you know that it means the same thing. So we're going to go into that stitch, and we are going to pull up a loop. Now for a double crochet, we're only going to go through 2 stitches at a time. So we're going to yarn over and go through the first 2, and yarn over and go through those 2, and we will end up with 1 stitch. We're going to repeat that 2 more times in the same stitch. Okay? One more in the same stitch. That'll give us our 3 double crochets that we need there. Okay. I keep forgetting to put my little arm padding down on the desk, and my arms get to hurting. Here we go. Next treble, we're going to put 3 double crochets. 1, 2. Good morning, Karen. How are you this morning? And 3. Now we're going to be working in this space down the other side. 2 half doubles and 3 single crochets, all in this space right here. Well, I'm trying to get my brain to function the way I want it to. Having a little bit of difficulties this morning, but I'm working through it. Now we're going to do our 3 single crochets. Go into your space, grab up a loop, pull through 2. 1 more. Okay. And you can see that those petals are starting to shape. Now we come down here into our slip stitch where we secured our chain 5 from the last row, and we're going to secure that with a slip stitch. You pull up a loop and you pull right through the loop on your hook, and that just secures that down for you to start here in the next stitch. Again, it's just a repeat of 3 single crochets and 2 half doubles. So we're going to do our 3 single crochets. There's 1, there's 2, and there's the 3rd one. Got to keep an eye on my time here. Now we're going to do our 2 half doubles, because at 9 o'clock we switch over to the knitting portion. There's our 2 half doubles. And then we are going to do, in those spaces, the 3 double crochets in the tops of the trebles from the last row. Okay, go to the next one, 3 double crochets, because it's another treble. And they want us to put 3 double crochets in that treble space, or that stitch, not space. All right, now we're over here to our chain 5 space again, and we are going to do 2 half doubles. Half double, you yarn over, go in, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops, you pull through all 3. Now we're going to do 3 single crochets. I need to pull some more of this yarn out. There we go. So 3 single crochets. Did I already do one? No. 2. Yeah, I think I did. Let's go ahead and do the other 2. 1, 2, and then again, get this turned around here. Here in our slip stitch where it's connected on the other row, we're going to go right into that slip stitch and slip stitch. So you pull up a loop, and that loop goes right on through the loop you had in your... I think this probably should have had a few less, because this is going to be fun to try and flatten out because it's rippling up now. I would have done 1 less petal in here. But we're going to continue on. 3 single crochets, 2 half doubles, and it's 9 o'clock. We will run the knitting portion over just a little bit so that I can finish up this flower. 2. Now make sure to expose that treble stitch there so we get into that one. 3 double crochets in that treble. It's 2 and 3. Go over to the next one. I'm going to yarn over and do our double crochet. I'm going to put 3 of those in that treble. And then, oh, we got 2 more petals to do. I think I might skip one just so I can show you what it looks like. So I don't want to be too long. 2 half doubles in this space. And then 3 single crochets. Go into the space, pull up a loop, go through 2. Go through those 2 loops. And go through those 2 loops. Yeah, I still have 2 more to do. I'm going to try and lay this down here so you can see what it's looking like now. I think they got too many petals on here for you to really see with all of these petals, because I got 2 more that I have to do yet. But you can see the petals forming here. And if you wanted to, once you got done all the way around, all these stitches here, you could take and do a single crochet in a different color all the way around here, and you would have a different color framing your petals, which gives a little more detail. And then again, if you wanted to, you could put one of these little right in the middle. Give yourself a little sparkly. Sparkly likes it draws the attention. So add a little sparkly detail. But you do this all the way around until you did your last slip stitch and secured it off. You would fasten it off. And this is a May apple flower. Is everybody okay so far with the flower portion? Let's back here and make sure that I didn't miss any comments while I was talking about the flower. Oh, thank you for the hearts. Karen, thank you. I don't think I missed any comments. I think everybody's probably following along, maybe. Hopefully. I would definitely like to see some of the stuff that you guys do. If you do videos about the stuff we make in class or what you used that stitch or whatever for in a project that you're working on. I'd love to see your videos. Oh, I've got team members. What is this team stuff? Please explain to me what this team stuff is. I noticed. Okay. These videos will be uploaded to YouTube today as soon as TikTok processes them and I can download them. I've got to get on track and get back in order. I've gotten so far off of how I did things when I started. I need to get back to it. But we're going to go ahead and move on to the knitted portion today. And for some reason, I didn't grab a skein of worsted weight yarn, and I need to. Alrighty. Let's see. Let's try this one here. I want to make sure that you can see it. And I need to get better lighting. Better lighting. So that when I use certain color yarns, it doesn't end up shining a light back on the camera so that you can't see it. Now, I did link this in my bio for today. I'm going to show you the cast on for the knitters. We're going to start the knitting portion here. I'm going to show you the cast on. And I'm going to show you how, and I had these blocks out earlier. I'll show you some of these blocks. You can make these little knitted squares. It's a nice little small project that you can carry around with you. And this one, let me see if I can't get, I don't know how many I casted on for this, but I could count it up really quickly just by counting the vertical rows of stitches. But it is a 9-inch square. And it has a little puppy dog done in purl stitch. This is only done in knit and purl, and you can put pictures on your stuff using knit and purl stitches. Okay, these here, let me get my little pointer stick. We'll use this one even though it's a Tunisian crochet hook. These stitches here where you can see these little vertical, these little V's going up this way vertically, these are all knit stitches. These stitches here where you see little ridge bumps, these are all purl stitches. And it puts a picture on a little block. I'm going to show you how to do that with this one today. I have a couple other ones that I can show you really quickly too before I get started with this. We had a puppy dog. Here we have a teddy bear. And in this light you really don't see them that well. We have a rubber duck. You see the rubber duck pattern in there. And we have a train. And I have an airplane. You see the little propeller part here at the top. And the wings and the little body and tail. Okay, we're going to show you how to do that with these hearts. I couldn't find the heart graph that we did last week. But it's kind of going to be along the same lines as that. But this is going to help me teach you the basic knit and purl stitch and have a little bit of a design. What I normally do is when you're working this, because we're working this flat, you're going to have row numbers on both sides. Okay, the odd rows are going to be on one side, the even rows are going to be on the other side. I normally start working this direction, and then these rows over here are worked in the opposite direction. Because once you knit across and get over to here, you have to work from here and work back over. If you work a knitted graph, pay attention to where the numbers are in the pattern. If the numbers on the graph are all up the same side, you're working in the round, because you'll work this and then this will be over here connected to this. If you see them labeled like this, you know you're going to be working flat. You can do either off of this same graph. If you want to work this in a round and make this like a cowl and put hearts on the front, you can do that. You just have to have the measurement for the stitch count for the size cowl that you want to make, whether it's for a kid or an adult, man, woman. You can make cowls for your dog if you want to. If your dog's got a cold neck, you can give him a little cowl. Go with his sweater that you put on him when he goes out in the winter. For the dogs that have shorter hair, little Chihuahuas, American Bulldogs. I can't think of too many more. Hairless cats, they need clothes. But anyway, each one of these pixels represents a stitch. There's 19 pixels across in this graph, which I've notated here. And we're going to put that edging on, just like with these. Otherwise, our knit is going to roll up. So I've added 6 additional stitches to our graph, and we'll put 3 on one side and 3 on the other. I will mark off the border edges with a stitch marker. For the new knitter, I would definitely do this because it will remind you that those stitches are different than the stitches that are in the middle. So I'm going to pull out, dump these out over here. I need a little bin to put all these things in so I can just grab them. Again, it's all being prepared for class. All right, and I'm not prepared. You guys are probably more prepared than I am right now. Let's get together here. We're going to go ahead and do a cast on. I'm going to show you a different version of the long tail cast on. Okay. Actually, it's not called a long tail, but long tail, you would have to pull out a long tail and make sure you had enough. This one, you don't have to pull out a long tail. What I do, again, I do my slip knot, and I do it the same way that I do my crocheted slip knot. Hold it with these 2 fingers, wrap your index and middle finger, cross them over with an X on the back side. The front side, you won't have the X. Okay? I'm going to take my knitting needle. I work with circular needles simply because of space. There's not a whole lot of space between the counter and my desk. Again, you're going to go under the first one, grab the second one, and all I do is just twist my needle around just like I did my crochet hook, drop everything and tighten it up. There you have a slip knot. I like to use a slip knot simply because if I don't like the work and I have to pull it out, I don't have to cut a knot or try to dig a knot out of my yarn. When I pull this out, the slip knot, it'll all just come right out. Now, I'm going to cast on my 19 plus 6. So we're going to cast on 25 stitches. All right. The easiest way to do this, I take my thumb, go just like this, and then hold this with the pinky. It creates a loop right there around my thumb. All I have to do with this needle is come up underneath here like this and tighten it up. And there's 2 stitches. We count our slip knot as a stitch and this one as a stitch. And we're going to do this 25 times, okay? Take your thumb under your string, grab your string right here with your pinky, or your ring finger if you want. Take 2 of them, or all 3 of them, it doesn't matter. Just as long as you're creating this loop here around your thumb. Go into that loop, and then pull your thumb out, and then just tighten your loop up. When you're tightening that loop up, you want to make sure that these stitches are sliding. You don't want to make them too tight because it makes it torture trying to get through the next row because you got to put 2 needles in these stitches, and I'll show you that here in a minute. Just make sure it slides. I can slide it by holding the strings. So I know they're snug, but they're not too snug. Okay, so we got 3 on there. We're going to do this 22 more times. Okay, thumb under there. Grab that with these fingers. Let's see if I can't do that a little bit better here in camera. You've got your loop there. Just put it on there and tighten it up. Okay, again, thumb, grab your yarn. There's your loop. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and load this and count it. We need 25 stitches. We got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This will not give a stretchy cast on. This will not be stretchy at all. So if you were doing the sleeve cuffs or something, you want to make sure you do a stretchy cast on like a long tail. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And what I'm doing now, okay, I'm keeping a hold of these in this hand like this, and I'm just taking my thumb under there like that and letting it slide a little bit as I pull and putting that stitch on. I have a hold of it here. Take the thumb underneath. And there's your loop. And then you can use this to just snug it up. Okay? See how easy that is? A lot easier than long tail. You don't have a whole lot of direction. Okay? Let me count these again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Now we got 25 stitches on here. All right, now for the first at least 3 rows, I'm just going to demonstrate the knit stitch because we want to get, let me put one of these squares back up here. We want to have this nice edge here, and this is knit. Actually, they did seed stitch on here, but I'm going to knit every row, which is going to give us what they call garter stitch. Okay, so for the next 3 rows, I'm going to be doing nothing but knit stitch. Okay, so a knit stitch. I'm going to pull our first stitch over here. Come up here pretty close so you can see. And this is for all the new knitters that are joining us. All the advanced knitters, you can go ahead and knit across if you want. And if you want to do all 3 rows, you can do all 3 rows, and then you got time to ask questions. Okay, we're going to go to the left of the stitch, and there is a loop that's created here. This is going to be a little fun trying to get through the first row. It always is. Okay, so in from the left side of the stitch, and we're going to put it in there and go to the back. So it looks like this. Okay, come up here a little bit better, and hopefully my camera will focus in a little better. But you're going to wrap the needle that you inserted, this one here, counterclockwise with your yarn. And then I keep this needle touching this needle the whole time through. Okay, so I come through the other side, back where I went through, and I pull through a loop. Now the one that was originally on there, it comes off. I don't know what's going on with this. Okay. I want to make sure my phone stays plugged in so that you don't die on you guys here. I'm losing my charge. Again, left side of the stitch, go in through. You're catching just the loop. You're keeping your needles connected so that you can wiggle through that loop. Again, this first row is going to be a little tight. And this one here, the reason why I don't do this cast on is it makes it really fiddly to me, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. It's a little harder to get into. Again, counterclockwise wrap that needle. And I'm going to come up really close here, and hopefully it'll focus in for me. And you can see how that comes down below that other needle and it kind of stays right there. And it's not going to focus in like I want it to. And then I keep this needle in contact with this needle so I don't lose my stitch all the way through. And there's our second stitch, and we'll push that off the end. Okay, so I'm going to work all of these stitches until they're all over here. We're going to knit those all the way through. The next row will be a little bit easier for me to show the knit stitch to you because I won't have to fiddle as much with getting them into the stitch. The cast on row for me always seems to be just a tiny bit fiddly. It takes you a little bit of extra time because you don't have any material hanging down underneath here. And it makes it a little bit harder to get into the stitches. Okay, I'll demonstrate that knit stitch a little bit better once I get this first row done because I can show it to you a little easier. But if you see me doing this stitch here to the left, through the stitch, needle to the back, our yarn is also to the back. Our yarn here is to the back. If it was to the front, it would come in this direction, but it's to the back. And that's important with the knit stitch because purl stitch, your placement of everything is different. Okay, unlike crochet, your stitches are done pretty much in the same fashion. Knit and purl, they're done totally different. But they are actually the reverse and opposite of each other, which is something that I can show you when we do the stockinette stitch, which is knit one row and purl one row. And the stockinette stitch looks like this area right here. It looks like this here, nice flat knitted surface. And on the back side, it looks like a bunch of little dashes put together, a bunch of little ridges. This is stockinette stitch because it's knit one row, and then when you come back, it's purl. So go ahead and finish up this row of knit. And I'm just finishing the row out here. I'm watching everybody coming. New people joining. Welcome, welcome. We're here learning how to cast on and knit, and we are going to work on making one of these squares in this heart graph pattern here. Okay, now we've got to the other row. All of our stitches were moved from the left needle to the right. Unless you're a left-handed knitter, then it went from the right to the left. How to do the knit stitch. Well, welcome, Shay. Yeah, they both have equal structures, Hoarder Ace. It depends on, what type of cast on you want to do. Casting off? No, I can show you how to cast off. Good morning, Meredith. How are you this morning? Give Meredith a little shout out this morning. She's got some amazing bags. You should check her out if you're interested in crocheted bags. Okay, yeah, I will be casting off. We'll get through this and cast this off today. So I'm going to go ahead and do the knit stitch again. Is there any beginners here that need me to slow down? If so, just type a B and I'll see it in the comments and I'll slow down. All right, again, we're just going to knit straight across, and I'm going to go ahead and knit. If I see a little B in the comments, I'll know that I need to do the next row, or from where I'm currently at, slow down a little bit so that I can show you. I'm doing well this morning. I'm fighting with this chronic illness to not impede me today because I don't like postponing or canceling. I will just soldier right on through as best I can. And I hope that everybody will soldier right on through with me. I'm one that I want to show you the real, honest everything that goes on at my spot. And when it's live, it's live. You get to see all the mistakes and all the errors. I will not edit them out. I will not change them. I will not post them, because I'm a human being and I do make mistakes. And I'll share it all with you, and we'll see how to fix it, and we'll see how to find the mistakes, and we'll work it all through that way. Okay, caffeinated sloth, you need me to slow down a little bit. All right, so we got a couple more stitches here. Again, with the knit stitch to the left. And I've seen people do it from the right. I do it from the left. It was the way I taught. You might have found an easier way, yeah. What do you mean by that? I don't know what you mean. Do you prefer Starbucks or dildo? I don't know. You have a good day, Meredith. I'll jump in with you in a little while here. But again, a knit stitch, you go in from the left and you go in through that loop. Okay, and your needle goes to the back and your yarn is to the back. You're going to counterclockwise wrap your yarn. I'm going to keep the tension here. I'm going to show you the actual techniques. You can. That's called a crocheted cast on or a provisional cast on. Yes, and that, if you do the provisional cast on, it will keep those stitches live so you can stitch them together in the end, seam them together to make it seamless for like infinity scarves, headbands. You can use that cast on. I don't know what that is. WWW. 6 W's. I don't know what that is. But let me show the stitch again. You go to the left, in through your loop. So you see you've got your knitting needle through your loop there. Okay. Counterclockwise wrap. And I hold the tension on here as I keep this needle touching this needle to come all the way. I'm still touching here at the bottom. I'm going to turn it around so you can see I'm still touching and my stitch is right there. Now I'm going to let go of my tension so I can adjust the stitch size to the needle to make sure it's the right size and it's not going to be too tight for the next row. Okay, in on your left, counterclockwise wrap. Hold your tension here on this string. As you come through, you can see I'm holding enough tension to pull that loop down, but I'm coming up a little bit with it, so it's not super, super tight, but it's allowing me to create a hole to get my needle back through. Now I'm going to let go of my tension so that it gets sized properly on the needle back here. I never do my stitches up here because it's not the proper size. These are beveled. You need to come back past the bevel to make sure you get the right sizing on your stitch. If you are making wearables and you are working up here only, like this, and you're sizing your stitches here, this is going to be way too tight when you come back to do the next row. And if you continually do it at that way, it's going to make your wearable smaller. It's not going to be true size. Okay? And I will slow down on the next row too. Did that help a little bit, caffeinated sloth? Yeah, you want to make sure you come back past the bevel on the knitted needle to get the true size. That way your stitches will all be the same size. You get tighter and looser stitches, your tension's off, and then, your stitches are wonky. And if you have short stitches and then big stitches and then short stitches, it puts a size difference. Okay. So I'm going to do one more row because you need at least 3 rows, I've found, of an edging to keep your knitting from rolling up. I should have pulled an example of rolled up knitting out because I didn't put a garter edge on it and I'm going to have to redo it. So I'm going to go ahead and get through this row and we will Is there a difference between these knitting needles and the separate ones? No, there's no difference. These just give me space because I have, you know, there's only like maybe 12 inches maybe today between my camera and the top of my desk. So I use this for space. Otherwise, the straight needles, you'd hear them banging on the desk the whole time. So no, there's no difference. These needles pretty much are used for working in the round. They made these needles to replace double pointed needles. So just slowly working knit stitch to the end of the round. And the next row, we are going to, we're going to do 2 more rows of knit, but we're going to do what is called the stockinette stitch on these next 2 rows. So you guys will get to see the purl stitch. Okay. And this next row I'm going to set up for my edging too. This edging here. So that we remember. These are a size, what did I pull out of there? 5s. Normally with worsted weight yarn, I had planned on using sport weight, but I'm going to go ahead and use the worsted weight so you can see it better. And I just didn't grab another set of needles. So depending on what size yarn you use, and let me go through this with you guys too. I have a couple of different ones here because these don't all the labels are different, but they all give the same information. Pull some of these out of here. This label came off of Lion Brand, the Mandala Cakes. And on the back here, it'll tell you the weight of the yarn. See if I can get that to focus in. It'll give you the weight of the yarn, and then it'll tell you what size needles is recommended crochet and knit for this size of yarn. I always go by this if I'm just free knitting, like making these little squares here or knitting a blanket or whatever. But if a pattern gives you a specific size because it's for sizing, you have to use the needle depicted in the pattern to get the proper size. So right now I'm just working off of whatever because it doesn't matter size right now. This one here, each label is set up a little different. It'll also give you gauge. A 4-inch by 4-inch square, okay, should be 12 single crochets and 15 rows. And that should give you a 4 by 4 square with this needle size. If it doesn't, you have to go either up or down a needle size depending on if you knit it tight or crocheted it tight or crocheted it loose. So this will help you find gauge if you need a specific size in your project. And we can work more on this when we go to start doing things like that. And that's just 2 of the labels. This one here is a Knit Picks label from Brava Sport Weight. And it's got it written out. A size 3 through a size 5 will give you 6. And in those sizes, 6 stitches should give you an inch. Somewhere in those sizes. You've got 4 needle sizes right there. So again, you would have to do a gauge swatch. And here it gives you an E or a 7 in a crochet hook. And again, the weight and what type of yarn it is and how to deal with it, how to care for it. Should be on every yarn label. But they're all different. But they use a universal set of symbols too for wash and dry and iron. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this row up here. And on the next row, we're going to set up our borders. And we are going to go over a little bit today. I do want to, and again, this video will be uploaded as soon as TikTok has it processed for me. I'll upload it to YouTube so that I can get back in order. I was still looking to see if Trudy's Creations came in today. She was asking for some knitted help. All right, now here's where we're going to take our 6 extra stitches for our border edge, and we're going to divide those up. We're going to put 3 on one side and 3 on the other. So we're going to go ahead and on this border edge, we are going to knit every row. No matter which side we're on, we're going to knit every row. So for the border edge stitches, we have 3 of them. We're always going to knit them. So what I do, just to be helpful, I put a little stitch marker in there to let me know this is one pattern, this is a different pattern. Oh, my coffee's sizzling over here. I got a coffee warmer that keeps my coffee warm, and I have, oh, that's hot, condensation under the cup because the cup's not flat on the bottom. It's got a little raised indent. And the condensation falls off on the burner on my warmer. Okay, now, in this, I've got the key here. The plain blocks with nothing in it, we're going to knit. The blocks that have the little squiggly black marks in it, we're going to purl. Okay, so that's the key for our chart. So, all of these blocks here, and you can use this to do 2-color knitting if you want to. Or you can do it 1 color. I can show you more and use this same graph and show you many different applications for this same graph. So I'm going to be keeping this. I don't know what I did with the other one from last week, but I'm going to put this in my book. So if we come back to it again, I can show you different applications for this same graph so you don't have to keep figuring out the pattern. You can use it over and over and over again. So all this whole row is all knit, so we're going to knit all the way across to the last 3 stitches. Okay, so this gives you some practice on the knit stitches, plus you're making something useful. You can use this, it's small enough, you can use it for a coaster. Set your cup on it, keep your table dry. I have a bunch of little crocheted circle coasters that I use throughout the house. But we're going to knit every stitch, and I'm going to try and do it a little bit slower so that you can see how I'm doing it, and I will show you what my fingers are doing too as well, so you learn how to hold and keep control of your stitches so they're not always coming off. I try to work, you know, pretty close to the end of this needle, but I always come down on this one to make sure I got the right sizing on my loop. This finger, this index finger right here, is holding this stitch so that it doesn't come off. I can yank on this all day long. It's not coming off the end of my needle. If I drop it, it's not coming off the end of my needle. And this one is holding this stitch, getting ready to push it up when we take this one off. So I'm going to show you every step very slowly how I'm holding what I'm doing. Okay, let's take this back out. I move my next stitch over and separate these 2 stitches. So I've got that isolated there. I'm holding it so it doesn't come off the needle. Go in from the left to the back. Counterclockwise wrap my stitch. Here is where the magic happens. Tension. Okay, tighten up on my tension. As I'm coming through, I'm assisting this needle through, so I've let go of that stitch. I'm going to help push this through. Okay, as I come through this loop, letting go of the tension, this finger is going to come back for this next stitch. As this is going off, this finger is pushing forward, this thumb is holding this one back, and I'm moving a stitch up. This is what I'm doing unconsciously or subconsciously as I'm working. It's not unconscious because I don't think I'd be working. But unbeknownst to me, all of this is going on in the background as I'm knitting. Okay? In, wrap, let go, tension, assist the needle out, let go of the tension, let go of that. This goes here, this goes here. That's what I'm doing the whole time. So you know I'm holding these stitches. They're just not floating around mamby-pamby by themselves, out of control. Again, and there was a step that I forgot to show you. And I put my needle in, and I wrap, tension, let go. When I go to pull these through, or actually I missed it when I wrapped it. When I go to wrap, I have control of this. Excuse me. I have control of this stitch here with this hand, but I'm also taking my thumb and I'm pinching so I can let go of that needle so I can wrap my stitch, and then I grab it back again. Okay? Now I'm going to show you what my left hand or what my right hand is doing. Okay? I have my yarn right here in my pinky. These two hands are just hanging out in the wind, and then this one catches the yarn so I can wrap. Okay? This is keeping my tension, or I can use all of these and keep my tension if I wanted to, if I needed it to be super tight, but I don't. So I normally just have the pinky, and it runs through there real easy. Don't have it real tight. So basically just this. These two hands are just fingers or whatever. And then I wrap. I'm pinching, letting go, wrap. Everything has got a job to do here. And they all work together. Sometimes not in sync. Having a human day and make all kinds of mistakes. But I'm going to go ahead and continue on since I've shown you the technique of how I do it. It's not the right way. It's not the only way. It's the way that works for me and is the most comfortable and the most efficient. You'll find that out for yourself as you knit, what works comfortable for you. Might not be any way that I show you or anybody else shows you, but it doesn't mean that it's the wrong way. It means it's the way that works best for you. Now we're to our last 3 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and take my other stitch marker and put in there. So this lets me know we're doing a different pattern over here. That's the reason for the stitch markers. And these 3 stitches we're always going to knit. No matter which side we're on, we're always going to knit these 3 stitches and these 3 stitches over here. Those are not depicted on my graph. Okay, those are added. Those are the plus 6. Okay, the 19 is the graph. The plus 6 is the extra for the border. If you don't want to do the border, you don't have to do the border. If you want to sew these together for a blanket and do a final border on the end, you can do it that way. If you want to use this for a little messenger bag, you can make this and then just keep knitting. And then you can fold it over. Put this on your flap, keep knitting. You fold it over 3 ways, seam it up 2 sides. I can show you that later. That I would have to prep because it would take more than the 2-hour class to do. So we're going to turn our work and we're going to come into some purls now. So we're going to show you the difference when you get to doing purls. Make sure your yarn is to the back for these next 3 stitches. Okay, where it's always been. Just take it to the back. You're in your first stitch. You're going to knit your first 3 to the stitch marker. These are always going to be knit no matter where we are. These 3 are always going to be knit. Now, because we're on the back row and we want this nice smooth knit on the front, not this ridgy, because this is knit every row. It's going to look the same on both sides. Ridgy. We don't want that ridge. We want this soft, smooth area right here so we can put our picture in there. So we're going to be doing the purl stitch. Now, for the purl stitch, this yarn that's in the back has to come to the front. Okay? So we're going to bring it right in between those needles and bring it to the front. Now we're in the front. Okay? Yarn's up here. We are going to go into our stitch. Let me see if I can't pull this down a little bit here. That'll help. We're going to go into our stitch from the right, not from the left like a knit stitch. We're going to go in from the right and keep our needle to the front. See our needle's in the front now? For the knit stitch, our needle was back here like this. For a purl stitch, we're going to go from the right in through the front, and it's going to stay to the front, the needle is. Again, you're still going to wrap it counterclockwise, and when you go through, little tension, keep this needle touching the other needle all the way through. You won't lose your stitch. And this is something that I do to teach people how to do that purl stitch properly and the knit stitch, keeping the needle touching. Once you got it, you don't have to. I just kind of always do anyway, just because. And it's just that, okay? You go in from the right, counterclockwise wrap, and then pull your needle through and knock your stitch off. In, wrap, needle comes through, you've got your stitch on there. This one goes off. Make sure you drop that one off or you'll add stitches if you try to go back and purl it again, which you can. There are some where you do 2 purl stitches, or you knit in the front and back of the loop, which we can show when we get to patterns and things like that as we come to it. I'm trying to teach stitches like this so that it makes it easier for you to combine these stitches to follow a pattern. Okay? Following a pattern might be a little intimidating at first if you never have. If you have problems, contact me. If it's a paid pattern, I will purchase it if I want to make it. If I don't want to make it, I'll have you send me just a picture of the row that you're working on, and I can help you with it. Okay? So we're going to purl all the way over to, and I'll show you these purl stitches again on the last 3 of them that I have here before my stitch marker. Go in from the right and keep your needle to the front. Okay, needle to the back would be like this. You don't want it back there for a purl stitch. You want it up front. Counterclockwise wrap your needle. Take it back through. You got your stitch over here. You can push this one off. Okay, one more time. I don't know if I missed any comments, but we're going to check here. I think everybody's just been pretty much watching along. Now we're going to slide our stitch marker, and these 3 stitches need to be knit. So we're going to take our yarn in between the 2 needles to the back. Okay, and then we are going to knit these 3 stitches from the left to the right, in through your stitch into the back, counterclockwise wrap, and we're going to knit those 3. Okay, now we are on to, and I'll flip this over so you can see what we have here. Show you quickly. We're starting to get that first row of just, your stockinette stitch here, where you've got knit on the front and you've still got the purl on the back. And you can see slightly a difference in these where we knitted every row. You can see a little valley in there. These you won't see a valley. No matter what you do, you're not going to see a valley because those are all going to be all purl. Okay? So, on to our next row, which would be row 2, and it would start from over here. So you're going to follow this way on this pattern, okay, for row 2. This way. Row 1, we went this way. And it's important, once we get up here to these colors, that you start your row on the right side. Because if you've ended row 3 over here, right, and you come back over here to start row 4, all of this is going to be over here, and these pieces are going to be over here. So you have to make sure which way you start your row on. And I always mark them, at least the first 2. I know all my odd rows are starting at the right, and all my even rows are going to start at the left side of my graph. Okay, so we're learning a little bit of graph today and a little bit of knit. So, are we okay with all the new people who might be trying to knit now? Are you okay with what? Linnea Bissett, I'm glad that you are here. I'm here to teach. I'm here every Tuesday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Running back through, make sure I didn't miss any comments. Summer, I'm sorry that I missed your comment. She asked, have you done a 50 by 60 blanket? If so, how many cast-on stitches and how many rows? I will show you how to figure that out exactly. Okay, we're going to take a little break from what we're doing right now, and I will show you exactly how to figure that out. And you have to use your yarn label. Okay, on your yarn label, and I'm going to use this little bit bigger label because we can see it a little bit better, get it to come into focus here. Here we go. If you are knitting, you're going to use these numbers over here. A US size 8 and 17 stitches should give you 4 inches. Okay, so you're going to take your 50 inches, which should be your width. Okay, and you are going to, oh, hold on a second. My brain just shut down on me. Okay, we've got a 50 by 60 blanket. Okay, and 17 stitches equals 4 inches. We need to figure out 1 inch. So we're going to take 17 and divide it by 4. Okay, so that is 4, which is 16 point something. So I'm just going to say that 16 inches, or 4 stitches will give us 1 inch. Let me get my mind straight. 4 stitches should give us 1 inch. Okay, you need 50 inches. So you're going to take 50 times 4. Okay, 200 stitches across. So you're going to cast on or chain, depending on whether you're knitting or crocheting a blanket. Okay, you're going to cast on 200 stitches for that size blanket. Now, as for the length, 60 inches, you're just going to measure it as you go. And once you get to 60 inches, you'll, fasten it off for crochet, or you'll cast it off for knitting. And you did say cast on, so it would be a knitted blanket. And then again, you're going to have to use the size hook or needles that it depicts for that, for that gauge. This is gauge for the needle sizes recommended for this yarn. It should give you this. If you do a gauge swatch, you have to work 4 inches by 4 inches, which is 17 stitches and 23 rows, to make sure that a US size 8 will give you this sizing. If not, you either need to go up a needle size or down a needle size, depending on if it's too small once you get to this size. Okay? And a knitting gauge will show you that. I'm going to mark down here. We're going to do a little bit of knitting gauge next week on Tuesday, or I might do some this week throughout the week. And again, I will upload those to YouTube if you miss them. I might do a little video with a little sample just so that you can see. But all that information is on your yarn label for you to figure out. That's freestyle, what I call freestyle knitting. You just pick up your knitting needles and whatever, and you say, oh, I want to make it this big by this big, and you use this label to figure it out. And I can help you further with that in another class, simply because I don't think we're going to get this done now today, because it's already almost 10 o'clock. We're definitely not going to get it done today. But I'm going to continue on so that, and I'm going to check and make sure we don't have any comments. Yes, Shay, I do have a YouTube channel. There is a link in my TikTok right above my videos. There is a Linktree link. And in there I link patterns and things that we're going to use for class. My YouTube is in there. My Instagram is in there. I have my Facebook Messenger linked in there in case you need to send me a picture. What am I doing wrong? Why is this not looking right? I can help you that way too. All the links that I use are in there. Let's scroll on down here. Yeah, you're knitting it. I figured that when you said cast on. My brain, like I said, it doesn't process everything right away. And based off of any, yarn label, you can use that same. You have to figure it down to 1 inch. So when they say in school, you'll never need math. Yeah, you do. Okay. Yep, all my links are in there. No. I will be right back. Come on. They thought they heard something outside and they want to bark. I try to keep them in here with me because I don't like closing them out in the other room, but sometimes I have to. So I'm glad that I can help you with that. And we're going to go ahead on to the next row. We did 1, 2. Now we're on row 3. Row 3, we're going to have 1 purl in here. I have a white German Shepherd, and I have a Pomeranian American Eskimo mix. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 13 white squares, so we're going to do 13 knit stitches, which is going to bring us over here to that purl stitch. Okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do my 3 knit stitches for our edge so it doesn't roll up. And I'm going to do those 13 knit stitches. Well, I'm glad that I could help. Really, really, really glad, because this is what I want to do, and this makes me happy. So if you have any questions other than what I'm teaching, I want to tailor the class to the student. I want to teach you what you want to learn. But I need to start doing my videos on Sunday, talking about what I want to teach in class, you know, what I plan to teach in class. What I want to teach is what you want to learn. So this is just prep for being able to teach you something. So we're going to do 13 knit stitches. All right, so we're going to count our stitches. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we missed our stitch. Didn't hold our tension tight enough. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Okay. Now, our next stitch, because we did our 13 knit stitches, our next stitch per the key is going to be a purl stitch. So we're going to do a purl stitch. This is where the picture will start forming that we're making now. So we're going to bring our yarn to the front. Just take your needles, make like a little field goal post. Let's make some sports metaphors here for all of our sports fans. And we are going to bring that right in the middle. Okay? You can do it just as if you were making another stitch. Just bring it right in the middle. Pick up your work again. And again, a purl goes from the right to the left and the needle stays in the front. You're going to wrap it counterclockwise. Okay, and then keep your needle in contact again with the other needle, like they're stuck together. Just rock and roll right on around there. Let go of your tension so you can get the proper size on the, make sure you pull down past the bevel. This is the way I hold it for when I am just working with a single strand of yarn. I can do it the other way. It's just faster for me this way. There's no right way or wrong way to hold it. This is just what's more efficient for me. I can put it over here and knit this way too. But as you can tell, it's a lot slower for me. I'm holding my tension a lot differently. Okay, and my fingers are all in the way, so I'm actually holding the stitches over here now, grabbing, and I just dropped that one off of there. So it's not as easy for me this way. Okay? The way I do it is not the right way. It's not the wrong way. It's just my way. And that's the good thing about crafting and knitting. As you learn the stitches, you'll find that you're going to follow the way the teacher holds it. You don't have to. It's whatever is comfortable for you. Okay, now we've got row 3 done. Let me bring my little pin up here so I can keep track of my rows. And I know we're probably coming up close on 10. I'm going to push right on through here for a little bit. We're going to turn our work, which is just putting the needle with the stitches on it over into the other hand, whether you're right-handed or left-handed, just switch hands. And again, these 3 stitches are always going to be knit, and I don't have those depicted on here other than the +6 for our border. So we're going to make sure that our yarn is to the back. Just pull it to the back, underneath the needle and back. Okay? And we're going to knit those 3 stitches. Well, let's get into the stitch and not around the stitch underneath of it. Yeah, I do mid-row color changes. And I do it just like adding another skein of yarn. If I ran out of this color, and I can show you. I'll go ahead and show you. I'm going to go ahead and cut my yarn so you think it's color change or, oh, I ran out of yarn. I got to add another skein or a color change. Okay? What I'm going to do, we're on pearls now. Okay? These are all going to be pearls. I didn't depict that on the back side, and my graph didn't depict that. So, for this, it would say, my graph would say, I want to get you into the key part of knitting. This would be knit on what they call right side, and it would be purl on the wrong side, WS. And that's how they would put it in a pattern. Okay? So we're going to scratch this one out. I didn't even think about that till now. Okay? This is our white block. It's knit on the right side, purl on the wrong side. Now, I will show you the right side here in a minute because everything is popping into my brain now, things I didn't show you. We're going to go ahead and purl a couple of stitches. I never do a color change on the edge. It makes it very loose. I will do a couple of stitches back here. If I'm, color changing towards this edge on this side, I will always go a couple stitches in. Okay? And then what I do, when I have about, depends on what size yarn I'm using. When I have about 4 or 5 stitches of yarn left, which I do here, probably quite a bit more than 4 or 5. What I do, and thank goodness it's on the purl side because it'll be easy to show you. I'm just going to go ahead and pick up this yarn right here, okay? I take the tail end, this end right here, the tail. This other end is connected to the skein. This is the tail end. And I lay it right there on top of my other yarn, and I hold it with my thumb, okay? And then all I do is just start knitting or purling, whichever stitch I'm doing, with 2 strands. See, I've got both of them together, the tail end and the one that's going to the skein. And I will work those stitches. I will work about 3 or 4 of them with 2 strands of yarn. Okay? I always leave a tiny little piece hanging out because I will take that and weave that end real good and tight. So there's 2 stitches. There's 3 stitches with the double yarn. And there's 4 stitches. When I do a color change, I don't put them together like this. I do it differently. Okay? Because if you put double strands in, you're going to have double colors. Okay? When I do a color change, it becomes more like strand knitting. I actually only catch it here, right, when I'm stitching. And I'll leave both ends here, and I will have to stop and weave both ends right away. Or when I do my color change, okay, let me take these few out where I just put this split in, and I'll show you the color change. Since I know we're not going to finish this during class today, I will take a consensus and see if you want me to come back at 12. Yeah, you can use the Russian join. No weaving and is super strong. Yep, there's many multiple different ways. But when I'm adding a color, I will put the color there and I will start knitting with this color and I will leave my old color hanging. I will weave these ends in later. Okay? You have to be careful when you do that because there's nothing securing this here. When you go in here to do this stitch, right, you'll stretch it out. So you have to make sure that you're holding that there. And when I put my new color on, I leave a nice little long tail and I will hold them tight right there together at the base of that stitch. I got both of them right there and I'll hold it tight. And then I'll start whatever stitch I'm doing, making sure to hold that there. I'll start doing my purls again. I'm still holding this over here so it doesn't get wonky. And I'm watching my camera view and I'm not getting it caught right. Okay, and once I got about 2 stitches, I should be able to let that go. And it's good. And I'll just continue on. Okay, that's if I run out of yarn. If I do a color change, I can do it that way too. Now when I come back here, okay, because I have 2 different yarns, you can see the gap that's created. All right, what I do at this point right now, I'll put my work down and I will take these 2 strings, right, and I will give them a little tie right there, not too tight, okay, and then I come back at the end and I weave these in and you can see that my stitches, they got a tiny gap left still, but when I come back through here, these will get knitted together. You know, the spacing will normalize itself out on the next row. Okay? And I'll weave these in later. There's also another way that you can do it. And let me grab another skein of yarn because I don't want to cut that too many more times. If you'd like, I can come back at 12 today and work on this some more. Or we can continue this another day or Tuesday's class. Whatever I do, I will upload and mark it part 2. So that way, if you can't make it back, and that's probably what I'll do. I'll come back at 12 so I can finish this up. If I have enough consensus of everybody who might be available to come back at 12. Another way, let me pull these 2 that I had out earlier for the flowers. Let me get this together here real quick. And I will show you another way that you can join yarn when you're doing a color change. You kind of have to do it a little bit ahead of time. So I don't use this for a color change, but I will use this. Let me take this stuff out of the way here. I will use this, and once we get done with this, I am going to jump off of here. You take your yarn and you create a slip knot between the 2 colors. Okay? Hey, Hessa Life, how are you this morning? You're going to take this one string and you're going to tie it around this one. Not with it, but around this one. So, you lay this piece in here. And then these 2, you take these and you tie them together like you normally would a tie. Like you tie your shoestring. Make your little loop. Snug it down. Do that a second time, like this. And you're going to snug it down pretty tight. Okay? Then you're going to come over here and do the same thing on this end. Take the white around the yellow and tie the white to itself. So you're actually tying around the yellow, not tying with the yellow. Okay? And then make sure that little snug. Then you're going to do that again. All I did was make a little loop like you first tie your shoestrings. And then tie that down like that. Now, magic. You pull both strings until those 2 knots come together. Basically what you did is you slip knotted the yellow around the white and you slip knotted the white around the yellow. Okay? It makes for a very tiny knot when you do it properly, and I don't think I tightened mine up enough. These you can weave in later, but then you've got a color change and a tiny little knot. This you can use for bracelets as well. This knot that I just did right here to make adjustable bracelets. You just have to make little knots in the string so it doesn't slip too far. But hopefully I've helped you with joining yarn colors, changing colors. I don't think I showed you that changing color too well, but I can show you that one at another time. And would anybody like to come back? You can see if you grab the yellow and the white, and if you pull it back out, it brings it back out. So you can use this for like bracelets, to make an adjustable bracelet for beaded bracelets. And things like that. So, would anybody like to come back at noon, or would you like me to pick up this heart square for next week? I'm not sure what you would like to do. I'll go ahead and I don't know what I did with my, here it is. Go ahead and do another row on here, or finish this row up. So we started row 4, and I probably, did we do our purl over here? Yeah, we started row 4 and I did too many. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to go back a couple stitches. So let's flip this over. Take some of these out because we were not paying attention to the pattern. And I'll go here for maybe another 10-15 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one here should have been a purl. And that's right where we put our string together too. And we are working on the back side of here. And we are going to purl 3. 1, 2, and 3. Actually, we're not purling 3, we're knitting 3. Because I think I got that wrong too. I have to figure that key out a little bit better. We're going to knit these 3 because we need purls on the other side. 2 and 3. And then we're going to go back to our purl stitches because we're purling on the wrong side. 1. And that's the rest of the row. And this should be over here on this key for the purl part, knit on wrong side. And then a purl on the right side. And that takes care of the key there. Is anybody working this along with me? Would they like to come back? Or are you guys just watching for technique and the way to perform the stitches? Oops, I just knocked one off. Felt it fall right out underneath my finger. Okay, and these 3 we're going to knit because those are our border stitches. We knit on every row no matter which side we're on or what row we're on. Still have a few more minutes here. I'll keep going. Again, these stitches, and we are starting on, we did row 4 on this side. So we're going to go here. Okay. Now keep on going here. Just keep on keeping on. Again, our 3 knit stitches, and we're on row 5. 3 knit stitches for our border edge so our square doesn't roll up. And then we are going to do 11 because there's 13 here. 11 knit stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Now we are going to do 5 purl stitches because this is the right side of our fabric. If you need to, when you do row number 1, that should be the right side of your fabric. So when I start row number 1, if I get confused as a new knitter, I would put a safety pin, something on this side to indicate that this is the front side, just to help you until you get along. Little, cheat codes for knitting to help you stay in, no, that's not even right, to help you perform what you want to try to do. 1, 2, we're doing our 5 knit stitches, or 5 purl. We're doing knit stitches, but we should be doing purl. Let me back up here. There we go. Now, to purl, just bring your yarn to the front. I do this so that you can see that I'm bringing it right in between those needles to the front, right in between. You don't have to divide your needles like that. When I do it, all I do is just bring it to the front, underneath of this needle. Now we're going to do 5 purl stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My husband calls me every day at 10:30 to check on me, make sure I'm all right. And if I don't answer the phone, he'll leave work and come home. So at 10:30 he normally calls. I'll have to get off of live at 10:30, but I can come back on. I do need to get a little bit to eat, so I can be back on by 11:30 if you'd like to come back and do these 3 knit stitches. That's what we have on our pattern here, 3 white blocks, and we're on the right side, so we're going to knit those. All right, and we're to our stitch marker, which indicates to me that I'm using this stitch marker to indicate we have a different pattern here on the sides, and these all get knitted. And that gives us our little border there, and I'll show you this. And you can use these to make sweaters, Hoarder Ace, just like you are making your crocheted granny square cardigan. I am following you on that. I am loving that, and I want to see how it turns out. But just to show you, because I will be jumping off here, this here gives you your border edge. This keeps your knitting from rolling up. Knitting will roll when you work stockinette stitch or reverse stockinette stitch, and there's no stopping it unless you put a border on. And you have to have at least 3 stitches for your border, otherwise it will still roll. I do have examples of that somewhere, and I might have to bring them out next class because I don't have really enough time to search them up right now. I cleaned up my room and now I don't know where anything is. Crafters, we know where it is. It might look a mess, but we know where it is. And as soon as we clean it up, we don't know where anything is. Okay, so we've completed row 5. Yeah, I hardly ever turn the TV. Well, I have the TV on right now, but I've got some piano jazz playing in the background. Just something peaceful. Oh, I'm trying to go to the other side. We're not working in the round. But yeah, I will show you any kind of stuff that you want to learn. Everybody who's jumping in now, I teach a knitting and crocheting class right here on TikTok, absolutely free. I'd like to get a little more feedback from everybody in the class and everybody joining and what they want to learn. So that way, the heck? Oh, okay, this is the back side. I was confused. Here we go. Another fibro moment. So the first 3 stitches are always knit because that's our border edge. In this project, not every project, just this one. All right, and we are on row 6. So we're going to have 2 purl stitches, and then 7 knit stitches. So we're going to do our 2 purls, and then we'll do our 7 knit stitches, and then when I turn it over, I can start to show you the heart forming on here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Oh, you're watching Forensic File, or you have it on for noise? Oh, I can show you all of that too. Yes, yes. Okay, definitely next Tuesday we're going to write drop stitches. I can get this ready, have something prepped and ready to show you that, definitely how to fix that. I do have a video on how to fix double knit drop stitch. It's pretty much the same thing. If it's a plain flat knitting and not a whole bunch of pattern. If it's pattern, I'm screwed if I drop a stitch if it's pattern, because I just can't figure out where I'm at within that row. And the rest of these stitches to the stitch marker, if you're knitting along with me, are purled stitches. Especially if it drops 5 or 6 rows. I don't know what pattern that stitch went through over those past 5 rows, and yeah, I have to try and figure it out, and it makes for, you know, and these 3 stitches past the stitch marker are getting knit. It makes for a big kerfuffle for me, and sometimes that whip either gets pulled out. A lifeline would help a lot if you're doing something and you're worried about dropping stitches, especially with pattern. A lifeline is where you take a sewing needle and a smaller gauge of yarn or even sewing thread and run it back through these stitches all the way across, and you leave it sticking out on both sides. And you mark down what row you put that lifeline on your pattern. So if you come up here and you make a mistake or you drop stitches, you can pull your rows back to that lifeline. Pull your needle out, pull your rows back to that lifeline, and then take your stitches off of that string, lifeline, and put them back on your needle and start back at that row again. That's what I should do, but I fly by the seat of my pants and I don't put a lifeline in, and then I get upset with myself because I didn't put a lifeline in and I have to deal with a mess. But you can see here now how your heart is starting to form here. And like I said, this looks a lot better. My lighting is not good, and it's not really showing you how this is already starting to look like this here. Okay? You've got your design starting here, which is this here. And this will form as you go through. And I love working little things like this. You can make squares like this in the size of the granny squares that you're working on, Hoarder Ace, in knit. And you can sew these together just like you can crocheted granny squares or any type of crocheted square and sew them together for a sweater. You don't have to use the grannies. You can do the start of a round granny and go square, and I can show you how to do that too. And you can make a square that looks like a sunflower and then make a sunflower cardigan with a bunch of sunflower squares. I made, and I'll have to see if I can't find any of them, the Oreo cookie blanket, and I know I still have some squares left because I didn't use all of them. And you can use those to make a sweater because they're squares, and use the granny square cardigan layout pattern to lay them all out and sew them together into a cardigan. You don't have to have the specific square that's in the pattern. You just have to make it to the same size. Thank you for all the follows, guys. And I probably will be back today, and we can just shoot the breeze, or I can show you some of the things that you want, and I will pick this up in class next week. So I'm going to put this in my notebook for next week. Throughout the week, this week, I will be working on knitting gauge, drop stitches. Before I go, for hats, I have a basic hat pattern that my mom had wrote out for me. And pretty much for a 22-inch head, if you measure the head of the person, you can customize the hat for people who've got small heads or big heads. You use the same formula that I did here on whatever yarn you want to use, and it'll tell you how many stitches per inch you need to fit a certain size head. Once you figure that out and you have your stitch count, you can do any kind of pattern in there that you want. I can show some of that through this week, and if you want to come back at 12, or let's say 11:30, we can work on some of this stuff that you guys are talking about. Drop stitches, knitting gauge, hats. I can help you, where you don't need a pattern, where you can do it based off measurements. You don't need a pattern. So, while I'm gone, and as far as the hats, are you talking crocheted hats or knitted hats? I want to make sure. I know the crocheted hats probably work up bit faster than the knitted hats, but I don't think I've ever done a crocheted hat, to be honest with you. But I can. So, knitted hats, okay, we can do a knitted hat. I can probably fit in a crocheted hat too as well, because I can go from 12 till 3. And we can just work right on through today. But yeah, I will be back at 11:30. For anyone else who wants to come back and join, if you want to share with your friends, please share with your friends. And we will do knitting gauge, which will help. I will do the drop stitch. Who was it who asked for the drop stitch? That way I can make sure you're in here and I don't, or I can tag you. Oh, where did it go? And I know you're probably already down here at the bottom. No, that's people coming in. I'm not sure if you're still even in here. Looking back through the comments real quick, because once I end this live, I won't be able to access the comments anymore. Drop stitches, Renee. I want to make sure that you're in here, or I'll tag you. Yeah, Renee, I'm not sure if you're still in here or not, but I will be back at 11:30. And if you're here, we'll do the drop stitches. But I do have a video where I fixed a drop stitch and double knit. Actually, I caused it and then I fixed it. Or actually, it was a color mistake, which caused me to have to do drop stitches. So, get back down here to the bottom. Yes, I put all of my live classes in YouTube. Oh, Renee, you can't join the live later. If you can make class next week, Tuesdays, I do it Tuesdays from 8 to 10 Eastern Standard Time. I can demonstrate the drop stitch. And because I'm doing tutorials later on, I will upload them to YouTube. The link for my YouTube is in my TikTok. All the links that I use will be in there. But yeah, I'll try and do a little tutorial and I'll tag you, Renee, so that way you'll have the video, so you won't have to wait till next week if you have a drop stitch now. I don't have enough of this done to be able to show you a drop stitch, and I don't have enough time to get enough done to be able to show you effectively a drop stitch. But I will be back at 11:30, and I will have yarn, needles, crochet hook, and I will show you guys whatever you'd like to see. And, oh, definitely, you're welcome, Renee. Very welcome. My mother taught me this, and she didn't charge me. She was my mother. And throughout my life, any knowledge that I have gained or obtained for free, I give for free. I will never charge for a class. I will never charge for any knowledge that I have that anybody asks. I will share that 100%. Patterns, I don't gatekeep on my patterns either. They're all online. If I'm working on a certain one and you ask me the pattern, I will tell you where it is, exactly how to find it, the name of it, the designer, all of it. Because I don't believe in keeping all that secret. So, well, thank you, Renee. I think I'm just rather ordinary myself. This is something my family's always done, and it's probably from our ancestry. We share. We just share. So I am going to end for now. I will be back at 11:30 if you care to join me. Have crochet hook, yarn, knitting needles, whatever skill you would like to practice or learn, and I will help you. So I will be back in just a little over an hour. And as always, may your stitch counts always match, and happy crafting.